Earlier in the course, we saw that you can set your preferences so that meeting attendees can enter the meeting room before you as the host are present. We have this join before host option here. This can allow the attendees to chat with each other or even start some initial collaborating before the meeting officially starts. But there may be some meetings where you don't want the attendees to get together before you get there. For example, if you need to make introductions between colleagues and clients. So a good feature to enable in those cases is the waiting room. The waiting room allows attendees to connect to the meeting, but they'll be in a virtual holding area until you manually let them into the meeting room. This feature is also very useful to keep out unwanted attendees. I've actually been seeing reports lately, especially from educators, where students show up in a meeting to harass other students or the instructor. This is becoming known as Zoom bombing. But the waiting room can solve this because it lets the host determine who can enter the meeting room at all. So to enable this feature, come here to the web dashboard, and in Settings, scroll down to In Meeting Advanced. And then scroll down a little further and find Waiting Room, which you can see I already have enabled here. You can then decide whether all participants will be placed into the waiting room or just guests. Guests are anyone who's not part of your organization or who hasn't signed in. If you choose the guest participants only, anyone in your company or organization will be let into the room automatically, which can be useful if you want to have a quick pre-meeting with your colleagues before letting everyone else into the meeting. I'm going to leave this set to all participants for this example. You also have the option here to customize the screen people will see in the waiting room. So you can change the text here, you can add your company logo, or add the meeting topic. I'm just going to leave the default setting in this case. Just close that. Now, while we're here in Settings, I'm going to scroll up a bit and find Allow Removed Participants to Rejoin. This is a useful option in case you have to kick people out of your meetings. By leaving this off, anyone you eject from the meeting won't be able to return to it, and you won't even see a notification that they're trying to get in. So this, combined with the waiting room, gives you complete control over who can get into your meetings. Okay, but once the waiting room has been enabled, when anyone signs into the meeting, they'll see the waiting room message that we saw. And when I go to sign into the meeting, let's expand my window a bit here. I can see that 2 people have entered the waiting room for this meeting. I'm going to start my own video up. So I can click Manage Participants, and I can see the list here of people waiting to get in. So I can either admit them one at a time by clicking Admit. So in this case, I just let Nick in by himself. But if I'm looking at this list of people who are waiting, I could first of all click the message button if I wanted to send them a message letting them know to keep waiting or that maybe this is not the meeting for them. Or if everybody on this list looks okay, I can click Admit All, and that lets everybody else into the meeting. And we're all together again in the meeting room. So again, by enabling this waiting room feature, I have complete control over who gets into this meeting. And again, if I do need to remove a troublemaker from the room once we're all in here, I can come over to the participants panel. For example, maybe Nick is causing some kind of fuss. I can click Remove. And it tells me he will not be able to rejoin this meeting because of the settings that I've set up. I'll click OK. And Nick is out of here. So he won't be able to get back into this particular meeting, but I can continue here talking to Jess and Oliver. All right, so that's how to enable and use the waiting room feature here in Zoom.